Reddit comments. Hotel staff of Reddit, have you ever done the deed with a client? How did it end up happening? Thanks for dropping by. Please come check out the Reddit Discord server. We have over 1000 members and a lot of fun channels for everyone. There will also be some sweet giveaways within the server very soon. Thanks. I worked the front desk of a not so classy hotel 3 to 11 PM. A lot of guests at the hotel lived there, and we were generally not busy aside from those living there. So working the evening shift, after 5 PM I was the only person on staff. Guys would come by the front desk to talk and flirt. The guys that lived there were generally very kind, and would bring me dinner, and keep me company without anything more. I'd hang out in the lobby with them, while they played cards and bullshit with them. One of the guys started spending more and more time at the desk with me. We hooked up one night and you can guess the rest. 1 year into seeing each other, I found out he had an entire secret family, but that's another story. I work as a waiter in a restaurant that belongs to the hotel. One night a table of 4 American girls, I'm Irish, around the same age as me showed up, were really nice and kinda flirty. I thought nothing of it really as flirting is a part of my job to a certain extent. They asked me good places to go out in the city I live, so I gave them an extensive list and we chatted for like 15 minutes about the town and what goes on. They left soon after, and I thought they were gone for good, but my best friend works breakfast shift, and met them for breakfast the next morning. They mentioned me from the restaurant, and how they are going out tonight in the city. My friend has bigger balls than me, and asked them to go drinking with us to show them the Irish way of drinking. We had a great night. I ended up banging one, and my friend got one too. Went on a road trip the next day around the area, saw some castles and stuff, and she stayed at my house the second night before she went back stateside. Was a memorable couple of days for sure. I just read this in the thickest Irish accent. First and only time. I was setting up a small banquet room for a dinner party for some doctors. The woman hosting the event brought her 22-year-old daughter. I was 33 at the time. I also look much younger than I actually am. Her daughter helped set up the dining tables, placing decorations. We started casually talking about her stay here and small talk. She asked if I had a girlfriend, which was my signal. She followed me around like a puppy dog practically all that night. I even ended up being the one to serve her table her and her mother were sitting at. It was a little annoying because I believe the mother knew her daughter's interest and was constantly flagging me down for small talk when I had 40 other guests to tend to. Long story short, as the function ends, her daughter asks if I'm doing anything after work, asks me to pick her up later that night. Lots of phone tag follows until about 2 AM when she finally tells me she wants to come over to my place. Turns out she was waiting for her mother to fall asleep so she could sneak out. When Sil arrives and I open my door for her to enter my house, she immediately kisses me and we proceed to smash for about 30 minutes tops. I barely got to know her. I even find out she has a boyfriend in Dallas, and if I'm ever in town to call her, she leaves around 5 AM. I text her the next day and no reply. Never heard from her again. Was incredibly unreal and kind of an eye-opener for me in some ways. Not me, but I was staying at a hotel and the receptionist was being really flirty with a customer who just so happened to have the room next to me. Later I was going to the vending machine and I saw her, the receptionist, knock on his door, and when I came back from the vending machine there was a do not disturb thing on the door and I just grinned and went in my room. The next day, when we were leaving, I saw both of them and told them good job and thanks for not keeping us up like I thought they would. Yeah. At the time was banquet captain, responsible for setting up meeting rooms and helping folks make their events successful. This meeting planner, probably 45, smoking hot, tight and classy, but just revealing enough business attire. I'm 26 to 27 at the time. Holy smokes. 30 years ago, she all, can you come back to my room? I need help with my bags. Of course, ma'am. Him following her down the hall, past the front desk where watching me as the front desk manager. Her and I had been carrying on about a year. Sometimes I look back and think what an badger I was, but I'm enjoying following this lady. Her jacket, pretty tightly cinched, doesn't cover her ass, accentuating the curve out to her skirt, just long enough to be classy, just short enough for a hint of naughtiness. We get to her room and she says she has something for the meeting in her bag on the bed. So I open it and it's all lingerie and toys. She wants to know what she should wear later, so I pick out a couple pieces. She takes them to the bathroom as moments later is before me dressed in them. Damn. That was a 3-day conference. I was working late quite a bit that weekend. The front desk girl caught on, and I was in trouble with her. My wife did not, though my behavior did catch up to an eventual divorce. I'm glad all that behind me, as much fun as it was. My second wife and I celebrate 16 years this month and I'd rather be with her than have crazy escapades. Do hostels count? Because if so, the answer is yes. A lot. With lots of different people. My go-to line was, hey, my shift ends in 1H and I know this bar where there are not so many tourists. European capital. Lots of tourists everywhere. It's something more locals only. How about you join me for a glass of red wine? It's about 15 minutes walking from here. Of the girls I actually gave this pitch, I would say about 95% said yes. I mean, who's gonna say no to going to a bar with the local hostel guy who knows a place with no tourists? Hell yeah. Drinks followed, then I put the moves on them, and if successful I would bring them home to my place, which is conveniently walking distance from the bar. I worked in a hostel for 4 years. Let me tell you this, if you are a single guy working the front desk of a hostel in a trendy European capital or big city, you will be a very lucky man. I've since moved on from that life. Funny enough, yesterday was the 7th anniversary of the day I met my current wife. In the hostel. Where else? Not my story, but I witnessed my coworker do THIS*. She was a mid that day getting off at 8. I was PM leaving much later. It was really slow, so this guest kept coming down, and she was openly flirting with him. Our managers weren't around and all the cameras on our property don't work, so she was chillin'. He comes and goes, and she talks about how she thinks he's cute, but she'd never sleep with a guest. The dude comes down a couple minutes after she leaves and asks if I can give him her phone number. My coworker told me that if he asked, I don't think she expected him to ask to give it him, so I gave it to him. Not too much is going on in the hotel. I'm just sitting around watching YouTube when she comes down the hall in normal clothes. She looks at me shamefully but smiles. He comes following behind and kisses her before she leaves the hotel again. That's the only story I have relating this kinda funny. Not me, but my fellow friend and colleague, porter/bellboy did. He was on the shift after me, and this guest arrived as I was leaving. I immediately noticed she was a bit of a chaotic guest, but wealthy, and ordered everyone about, which was quite normal at this very fancy hotel, often having famous guests. My friend didn't tell me what happened, but the next evening, when I was on the late shift, I was speaking to the night porter who asked if I want to see something. I said yeah, and he showed me footage of my friend walking down the corridor with this guest, and then entering her room hand in hand, and a fast forward showed him leaving the room the next morning. The night porter laughed, and I kind of laughed a bit too, and then he told me he had already reported my friend to ours. My friend was fired after admitting to doing the deed with the guest, and the guest left. She was very friendly with me and genuinely a little bit mental, flicking her hair at my face as if it would turn me on. A week later, front desk received a letter addressed to me, and inside was a hefty tip in my name. Not the hotel staff, but I lived at one for work. There was this girl who worked at the extended stay in STL, and she only had one arm. Just had a stump that ended just before the elbow. She was born with it. She'd see me every day, and we went from the casual greetings to having conversations. One day I'm downstairs on a Friday chit-chatting with her for a good 30 minutes. Apparently I'm not catching on to the hints she's giving me, so she flat out says, yeah, sometimes when it's slow I'll take naughty pictures of myself in the lobby bathroom. She then shows me said pictures. It was a beautiful thing. I'd text her and be like, you should come up. If it was slow, she'd come up to my room and we'd smash. This happened every time she worked, and it lasted a good couple of months. She ended up getting fired due to low quality of work. Nothing ever came of it. I used to be in charge of coordinating events/activities for my work, and would lead bar crawls a few nights a week. I'd usually get a pretty good group, mostly women, out, and I'd show them all the cool local bars. I could always tell by the second or third bar if one of them was keen, and then by the last bar I'd see if they wanted to sneak away. Work never knew, and my events would always get heaps of good reviews. Thanks for dropping by. Please come check out the Reddit Discord server. We have over 1000 members and a lot of fun channels for everyone. There will also be some sweet giveaways within the server very soon. Thanks.